Demoralization, the crown jewel of societal sabotage. If ideological subversion is a multi-course meal of manipulation, then demoralization is the bitter appetizer that ruins your appetite for everything else. It's the emotional gut punch that makes you throw your hands up and say, "Why bother?" Spoiler alert. That's exactly the point. When a society is demoralized, it's easier to manipulate than a toddler hopped up on sugar. Let's dig into why this stage is so crucial, so effective, and so bloody depressing. What the hell is demoralization? Anyway, demoralization is a psychological beatdown on a societal scale. It's about breaking a population's confidence in everything: their institutions, their culture, their leaders, even themselves. Think of it like a toxic relationship, but with a whole country. The subverter gaslights the population, telling them, "You're a failure, you're broken, nothing you do will ever fix this mess." Over time, the people believe it. It's not just about feeling bad, it's about feeling powerless. It's one thing to recognize problems. Healthy societies do that all the time. But when people are demoralized, they stop believing those problems can ever be solved. They shrug, sink into apathy, and let the chaos roll over them like a sad, cynical tide. Let's get real for a moment. Being demoralized isn't just about losing trust in the government or the media. It's about losing trust in yourself and in the people around you. It's isolating. It's exhausting. It makes you feel like an idiot for ever having hope in the first place. Imagine waking up every day to headlines screaming about corruption, inequality, war, climate disaster, and economic collapse. You scroll through social media only to find endless arguments, bad takes, and influencers pretending their curated lives are the solution to your misery. Even your entertainment is a downer: post-apocalyptic dramas and dark comedies about how everything sucks. Congratulations, you're officially demoralized. The beauty or horror of demoralization is that it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, insidious process that sneaks up on you like a bad hangover. Here's how it usually goes down. First, undermine confidence in institutions. The first step is to erode trust in the systems that hold society together: government, education, the justice system, the media, religion, take your pick. Constant scandals, corruption, or even fabricated conspiracies make every institution look like a rigged casino. The result? People stop believing anyone in power can be trusted. Why vote? They're all the same. Why report a crime? The cops are useless. You get the idea. Next, promote cultural cynicism. Attack the culture. Make people ashamed of their traditions, history, and identity. Convince them that their values are outdated, problematic, or just plain embarrassing. Highlighting every historical injustice, amplifying cultural division, or mocking traditional beliefs as backwards. The result? People lose pride in who they are and where they come from. The national identity becomes a punchline. Then, flood the zone with negativity. Nothing poisons the well like relentless negativity. Bombard people with stories of failure, disaster, and decline until optimism feels like a cruel joke. Endless news cycles about crises, doomsday predictions, and hyper-partisan bickering. The result? People feel overwhelmed and helpless. They disengage because really, what's the point? Finally, exploit tribalism and division. Divide and conquer, baby. Demoralization thrives on conflict. Pit people against each other along racial, political, economic, or ideological lines. Make them fight amongst themselves instead of fixing the system. Amplify identity politics, create false binaries, and promote echo chambers. The result? Unity becomes a pipe dream, and everyone assumes the worst about their neighbors. Oh, let's not forget the media, the demoralization machine's best friend. Traditional media, social media, memes. It's all fair game. The 24/7 news cycle ensures you're never more than a few minutes away from your next dose of existential dread. Algorithms prioritize outrage because, hey, it gets clicks. And while you're busy doom scrolling, the subverters are busy winning. It's not just about what's being said, it's about how it's said. Sensationalism, exaggeration, and selective framing turn every issue into a crisis. Add some strategically placed misinformation, and boom, you've got a society that can't tell truth from fiction, let alone muster the energy to care. Here's the kicker. Demoralized people don't resist. They don't rise up or demand change. They sink into apathy, cynicism, and self-doubt. That's the genius of it. If you want to control a population, you don't need to fight them. You just need to convince them they've already lost. And the scariest part? Once people are demoralized, it's incredibly hard to reverse. Yuri Bezmenov famously said, "It takes 15 to 20 years to demoralize a society, but reversing the damage? That can take generations." Why? Because when people lose faith in everything, rebuilding trust is like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. Real-world examples of demoralization. First, Cold War propaganda. The Soviet Union didn't just rely on tanks and missiles. They relied on messaging that made Western democracies look corrupt, greedy, and hypocritical. Second, social media disinformation. Today's subverters use bots, trolls, and fake news to amplify division and create chaos. They don't even need to convince you they're right. They just need you to believe no one else is. Third, cultural drift. From nihilistic entertainment to the glorification of cynicism, modern culture often feels like it's cheering on its own decline. What can be done? The million-dollar question. How do you fight demoralization? First, you call it out for what it is, a deliberate strategy to weaken society. Then, you start rebuilding. Reinforce core values. Focus on what unites us instead of what divides us. Critical thinking. Teach people how to spot manipulation, question narratives, and think for themselves. Resilience and hope. Highlight stories of progress, success, and community action. Show people that change is possible and worth fighting for. Most importantly, remind people that their voice matters. Because when enough people decide to push back, demoralization loses its power. So don't despair, because that's exactly what they want you to do.